Hello, everybody. Welcome to the arcade and another episode of Joystick Journeys. We are here again to figure out the wonderful cards and games and everything that has brought these amazing streamers to the gamer that they are today. One quick announcement. Dan from the Dan Good Show's episode will be out this Monday. I had to do double editing on it because for whatever reason it didn't save last time. If it would have, I would have had it out this week. But today we have the amazing, the wonderful, one of our grand new members of the cabin, Katjasaurus. Welcome on in, Katja. How are we doing?
Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited.
Good. I'm glad to have you here. As always, I'll preference to everybody, as we do every episode, this is super not professional. Don't need to stress out about it. We're just going to be here yapping about games, talking, and hanging out. So, you excited?
I am. I'm really excited.
Good. So, I will start out like I do every episode. What is your earliest memory with gaming?
My earliest memory with gaming. My very earliest would probably be I was so little. I was probably only like 3 or 4. Little enough that like the games I was playing, like I probably didn't even actually understand them really. I was playing on I think it was the original like Super Mario on the Game Boy Color.
Oh, wow.
It was like a hand-me-down that one of my older cousins gave to my mom to give to us, and so me and my sister shared the like really old, like blocky looking like Game Boy Color or whatever. And we would play like Mario on there, and we had to like take turns or whatever. So I think that's my absolute earliest memory of gaming.
Game Boy Color for the start. I like that. I like it being a handheld.
Yes.
You don't find very many
Yes.
people starting with handhelds.
Yes, yeah, I started with handhelds, yeah. I think I was quite a bit older when I got my first console. I probably was like 7 or 7 maybe? 7 when I got my first console, or maybe 8. Can't
Okay.
remember exactly. I'd have to look up the release date and that would probably like
That'll jar the
'cause my
memory.
first console was a GameCube.
Okay, we're hitting the big
So,
strong ones right off the bat.
yes. Yes, yeah, we were a Nintendo family for sure. We that was mostly what we owned growing up was like Nintendo handhelds and consoles.
Nice. I remember. So we didn't start out as a Nintendo family. For me, we started out with the Sega Saturn was our
Oh, yes.
first
Yeah.
home console.
Uh-huh.
So, and then I had a Game Boy Color, and then my brother had specifically the Game Boy Pocket, which they did a special
Oh, it
Pokemon
was like
release.
that really little one, wasn't it?
No, so it was the Game Boy Color, but if we put it in more modern terms, it was the Game Boy Slim, basically, is what it was.
Oh, I remember now. Yeah.
So it could
I
run
remember those.
color, but it wasn't the brick that you could chuck at someone and do some damage.
Yes, yeah, like it wasn't gonna like fatally injure somebody. Yeah, exactly.
But he had one of the special Pokemon ones that it was blue and then
Oh,
yellow on the
okay.
back, and it came with a crap ton of stickers you could just shove all over it.
Oh, that's so cool. I remember when that was like a thing, like you would just like put stickers on like all of your consoles and stuff. I feel like nobody does that anymore because they're like, I gotta sell this thing when the next big thing comes
When the
out,
next
you
one
know? Like
comes,
nobody
yeah.
decorates their stuff anymore.
I think the only thing I decorate is my water bottle, and I don't even have a water bottle anymore. I had to get rid of it
Yeah.
because it was a filtered one, and it
Oh,
got to the point of being so grody that I'd have to
it was
bleach
like
the
too
whole thing for
much.
days.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I know I remember putting stickers on like my Nintendo handhelds and stuff. I have magnets on my PC, but I haven't put stickers on it.
That
I feel like
statement
when it
just
comes to
gave me chills.
electronics,
Magnets on your
what?
PC? Oh, my brain
Yeah,
just
it's totally safe. It's totally safe. They're on the case. They're not anywhere like In fact, even my motherboard is like built for magnets on the back of it, on the back side of it, so it's totally safe. Yeah.
No. Ah,
Yeah.
that
I know
just gives
it's
me
like
chills.
I know it sounds really backwards, and I think quite a few years ago it probably would not have been a smart idea, and maybe even with like certain PCs that are not like gaming PCs, it probably isn't smart. Like if you just have like a normal desktop like PC at work, probably don't put like magnets on it, right? Because everything's so just like packed in there. But I feel like with how much space is on like a big like gaming PC, as long as you're like avoiding like certain areas, then it's pretty safe to put magnets on it. It sounds atrocious
It
though, it really
sounds
does.
terrible.
Yeah, I know. I remember the first time I heard somebody tell me that they put a magnet on their PC, I was like, you're actually insane. But it turns out it's totally fine.
Oh lord. So going with the Game Boy, other than Super Mario, what games stick out for you?
um, for the Game Boy specifically,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I played a little bit of Pokemon growing up, but I never got like super into it. I feel like the games that I got really into on like handhelds, so it wasn't like technically like a Game Boy, but it was the Nintendo DS.
Yep.
That's when I got like really into handheld gaming. Because we had the Game Boy Color, and then I was so young that I like barely even remember having it. I had to ask my mom about that. And then eventually we got the Game Boy Advance. And I honestly, once again, I was so young that I don't really remember what I played on that besides Pokemon. But it was the Nintendo DS that I played anything and everything on it. I feel like this is like the root of me being like a variety streamer. Like
Yeah.
this is where it stems from because I played like anything and everything that I could on that stupid thing. Um it like genre didn't matter, like nothing mattered. Like Nintendogs was my shit. I loved Nintendogs. Sorry for my language. I just
You're good.
I want them to remake that game. Like I want them to like remake it and like fix the graphics and like that sort of thing for like more modern day and like release it again because that was my shit, especially on like road trips, plane rides. It was the best. Um, my sister and I also got really into Zelda, um, then. So we were really into Zelda. I think it was
Should
oh
have
god, which game was
It
it?
should have been
I
Phantom
can't remember.
Hourglass would be one of the first ones on the
Yes, that's
DS.
exactly what it was. Yes, and there was that mode where you can like play like with each other and against
Yeah.
each other and stuff. Yes, we loved that. That was like our favorite.
I was a big
Yes.
Phantom Hourglass fan because I was a big Toon Link fan because of Wind Waker on the GameCube. So
Mhm.
Wind Waker for
Yeah.
me on the GameCube was my first like big dive into Zelda. I
Mhm.
remember playing it every once in a while at like my cousin's place on Ocarina of Time or especially Majora's Mask, and
Oh, yeah.
being young and looking at this time concept and going, I don't get it. 3 days
Yeah.
passed and now I'm dead. What's going on here? Why is this
Like,
doing
I
the
don't get
thing?
it. Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
but Phantom Hourglass is definitely one of the big forays I had with the DS for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Phantom Hourglass was awesome. I just feel like as a handheld, like the DS was just like a step above like everything that had come before it. It was just such a like crazy like advance in that direction, and especially when they, like they bring out the touch screen and the microphone and that sort of thing. And so it was just game changing as
You
far as
you could do chat
handheld gaming
rooms.
went, I feel like. Yes, yeah, it was crazy. It was awesome.
You had Picto Chat. Uh
Yes.
you had your clock there on the opening. You could still play your Game Boy
Uh-huh.
games.
Yes, yeah, it was honestly like such a big step in gaming. I feel like for a lot of like millennials and younger Gen Z and that sort of thing, like it was just huge. It was massive.
I remember my first DS was the big chunky blue one, which I think
Oh
was one of the
yeah.
original colors.
Uh-huh, yeah, I think so.
And then I ended up getting one of like the decal packs you could get, and
Mhm.
it was Shadow the Hedgehog. So you had like this
Oh,
faint blue
okay.
line around, and then you had Shadow the Hedgehog on top of it. Um,
That's so funny.
and then my brother ended up having a DS Lite first, so the slim one. and he had it in all in black. I'm trying to think of, because I know I haven't talked about the DS much through my foray on here, except for Pokemon. And I know
Mhm.
Pokemon's definitely a big one for me for the DS.
Yeah, yeah. Pokemon, I feel like my sister was really into Pokemon, more so than I was. But so I would play like a little bit. I feel like, okay, don't hate me, guys. I like Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. I just never fully got it. I don't know if that like vibes with anybody. Like I didn't fully like feel the hype the way everybody else did. Like I never got into the cards, and I like games were fun for like a few hours, and then I would like put it down for a few months and then not touch it again for, 3 months kind of thing, right? Um which I kind of do with all games, so like don't hate on me, okay? It's not a Pokemon thing necessarily, but I just never got super into it. I wish that I had, because I feel like it brings so many people so much joy, and it's not that I know nothing about it or that I hate it or anything. I'm not a hater. I just never really got that into it.
No, and I think that's pretty fair because like even for me, I'm a big Pokemon fan. Like I enjoy my
Mhm.
Pokemon. I've got this giant stack of Pokemon online codes I need to put in for the card game. But
Uh-huh.
like one of my other big ones on the DS that would be in that same vein of like collect a monster was Digimon. I was more into the Digimon
Okay.
games than anything.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard a lot about Digimon. I never played it. But I feel like it for a while, I feel like it kind of overtook the hype of Pokemon from my memory, you know?
It did for a short period of time, especially because they were smart and planned their releases in between the Pokemon games.
Oh,
And
okay, yeah.
so that was always a really nice thing for it. And then the way they did battles was more like a standard Japanese RPG than it was just a
Oh,
standard turn-based like Pokemon is. So
right.
you could
Okay,
have
that's
three
kind of
people in the
cool.
field at the same time.
That's nifty. I like
Yeah.
that.
So
I
what's some other
See, I
games?
feel like I would have been more into that. I should have played that.
If I recommend any of them, uh, Digimon Tamer. It's either Digimon Tamers or Digimon World Championship. Dusk and Dawn. They're
Good to know.
they did like with Pokemon. They would do two
Mhm.
releases at the same time, and
Right.
certain ones would only have certain Digimon. Certain ones would only have certain Digimon. And then that's one of the best DS titles. For modern,
Okay.
Digimon Cyber Sleuth it's on PlayStation. I could probably bet it's on Xbox, and I know it's on PC.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As long as it's on PC, I can play it. Yep.
Fantastic story, very well done.
Yes.
Battle mechanics are tight. You can't go wrong with it.
Yay. You'll have to message that to me because I will forget. But
Yeah, can do, will
but I
do.
will look at it.
Um,
But other games, um, feel like GameCube was like a big one for me, with like even more like Mario stuff. Like Mario Party, like OG Mario Party was like so gangster. Like there was just
yes.
you can't beat that. I mean, the new Mario Parties are great too, but it was so awesome like playing that with like your family or your friends when you're a kid. Super Monkey Ball was a big one in our
Yes.
household. Like, actual
Yes.
physical fights would break out between me and my sister over Monkey Ball. Like, we we took it so seriously for what reason, I don't know, but, I think we are just naturally competitive with each other, but that was a huge one in our house, was Super Monkey Ball.
I can't believe how
Um
many memories you just unlocked with just saying Super
Yes.
Monkey Ball. And my brain just lit up like, yes, this was a game and
Yes.
I remember it.
That game was amazing. I remember I think I was like maybe 19 or 20 at the time. The guy I was dating at the time, one of his friends still had a GameCube, and we would go to his house and play Super Monkey Ball at like 20 years old, and it was like the best feeling in the world because I was like, I'm like 7 years old again. This is amazing.
So, with you being primarily, especially because we've got the Super Monkey Ball pool, which I feel like I would consider it a cult classic for the GameCube. in my
Yeah, I
opinion.
would too. I
Did
would too.
did you ever play Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg?
No, I don't think I ever played it. I've heard of it though.
See, the fact that you've heard of it, I'll take it. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Because so
I have like a weird like view of the gaming world. I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things, truthfully, but
why do you think that?
I don't know. I feel like there's just so many games out there that like people are like, "How have you not played that?" You know? And I'm like, "Oh, sorry." I'm
Okay,
like, I didn't know about it till now."
don't feel bad about Billy Hatcher because it is definitely it
I definitely
is
heard of that one. I've just never played.
the fact that you've heard of it is impressive to me because it was in this weird period where Sega didn't know what the hell they were doing on the GameCube.
Mhm.
and and they're just like, well, what do we do? What games do we make? And it was that time when they're trying to develop a new mascot, and so we only got the one game, and you're this kid dressed as a chicken, and you there's like these dark nightmare creatures, almost like Kingdom Hearts esque, like Heartless,
Uh-huh.
and they're invading the
Okay.
world. And the way you do it is you roll around this giant, you'll roll around an egg, you kill a bunch of them, and then you can hatch the egg, and now you've got this thing that fights with you while you roll another egg.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it's
That
just,
sounds sick.
it's a fever dream of a game. And I remember it being difficult platforming, but not enough that it was like unplayable.
Okay, yeah, right.
But it was just, it's a game that Sega did, and I wish they would do a sequel.
That sounds actually amazing. If they made a sequel, I would play it. I would play it
I would love to
just to
find
experience it.
an emulator for
Yes.
someone to play it on.
Yeah. That sounds awesome, honestly.
So I'm guessing with GameCube, Super Mario Sunshine is on that list then?
Yes, yes, Super Mario Sunshine. What was oh no, Super Mario Galaxy, that was Wii, wasn't it? Yeah, that
That
was a
was Wii.
Wii. Yeah. Because that was our next console, was a Wii. But yeah, yeah, we were really big on Mario games in my house. My parents still have their Wii and they still play Wii Sports and shit all the time. Like it's
That's
just like
good.
yeah,
Keeps them
they have like
healthy.
yeah, exactly. They're like, "Let do you guys want to play the Wii?" And we're like, "Sure, I guess." Let's smash some Wii bowling, you know? But yeah. Yeah, Super Mario Sunshine. I had friends that had oh god, why am I blinking on what it's called? The other Nintendo console that came before the GameCube. Um,
That would be the
the
64.
yeah, I wanted to say 69. I was like, it's not
Nope, nope.
69.
No, it's
I
not.
was like, oh, don't say that.
That's a
Um,
whole different set of games.
the 64. I had friends that had that, but we didn't actually have one. But I remember playing games on that too. The controllers always freaked me out though. I was like, this is so awkward to hold.
I know how to hold it as a kid. Like I know there's the memory
Yeah.
there of like I knew how to hold this controller. I picked up one
Yeah.
the other day and I just kind of fumbled with it. And I was like, how the fuck did I play with this thing? What
Like,
is
how
this
is it playing
controller?
games on this? It's so weird. Yeah.
And then I get the vivid memories of Mario Party on the 64 because you'd have
Mhm.
the mini games where you'd roll the control stick in a circle
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you'd get blisters from the 64 controller.
Yes, it hurt so bad. It was like their like the back then's version of like the motion mini games or whatever, but it
Yeah,
caused like actual pain. Yeah.
you'd sit there and do it until you had a oh what was it? It was a stupid thing kids in high school did with the eraser. Um, they would
Oh,
take
where they like burn themselves with
yeah.
the eraser or whatever? Yeah. Yeah, it was like the equivalent of that for sure. Yeah. Did not feel good at all.
Um, I'm trying to think of what games on the 64 I have prevalent in memory. Which other than Mario Part, the original Mario Kart, of course,
Yeah, Mario Kart. Yeah, that's like
that's a
a
staple.
go-to. Yeah.
Especially for GameCube, Double Dash is the best Mario Kart ever
Oh,
made.
oh yeah, I'll die on that hill. That Double Dash is the best Mario Kart. Yeah. By far. I'm sorry, the one that they have for the Switch, it's it's too sweaty for me. I like what is that?
Like
I don't know. It just feels so different.
it's fun to play and it's comfortable to play.
Mm-hmm.
But it ever since Double Dash, we had it for a little bit, but that spark left. Double Dash has this spark that draws you to it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
And we know that it's there because Baby Park has been in every Mario Kart since then.
Yes, that's so true. It has been.
And that's one of the best, and honestly just the best track that comes to mind for me is
Yeah.
Baby Park, and it's just an oval. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a necessary oval.
So who is your mains in Double Dash?
Um, I okay, I think back when I played Double Dash, I think I've always been a Princess Peach girly. I don't think that I've ever really strayed from that too much. I think other than that I would go Luigi, and that's really I'm very predictable in that way. Whereas like when I pick a character, like that is my character and I'm sticking with it kind of thing. So even now, like even when I play like Mario Party on the Switch, like I go Princess Peach. So I think I've always just been a Peach gal.
I always did either, because it depends on whose save file we was playing on.
Mm.
If it was my own, I was King Boo and Petey Piranha. Mostly because you have two of my favorite villains from two of my favorite Mario games
Uh-huh.
right there. And then if I didn't have those, if I was playing at a friend's house or something, it was probably one of the Koopa Troopers and then one of the baby Mario or baby Luigi's, because Chain Chomp rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there was so many like good characters to choose from in Double Dash. I'm sorry, my knee is really itchy. I
You're
think I have a
good.
bug bite.
You're
So just
good.
ignore me.
You're
But
good.
I I feel like there were so many like good characters to choose from that they didn't like put in future games necessarily, because I think they had Diddy Kong, right?
Yep.
Um but I don't think they had that in the Wii version. I don't think they had Diddy Kong, did they?
I can pull up a list. Let's find out.
Yeah, we might need to Google that one. I could be super wrong, truthfully. My memory is really bad, but cosplay when Katya. I can't pull off a blonde wig.
I bet you could.
I I don't have the complexion for it. Trust me, I've tried.
I don't need
I
track
put on a
lists.
Hannah Montana wig once and it was terrible. Truthfully, I was darker back then. My I had darker skin when I was younger, but it's still not great.
So
Can't really pull off anything lighter than a dark brown.
we had Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, Toad,
Mhm.
Toadette, Koopa Trooper, Dry Bones, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Yoshi, Birdo. We did have Diddy Kong.
Okay.
We had Bowser Jr., Wario, Waluigi, Donkey Kong, Bowser, and then the special characters were King Boo, Rosalina, Funky Kong, out of all the pulls they could have pulled, and then Dry Bowser.
Okay, yeah. That's right. I feel like I did go through a phase where I played Baby Bowser for a little bit.
Dude, Baby Bowser, Koopa Kid, let's go.
Yeah.
And it all stems from Sunshine.
Yeah, that's so true. It probably does.
because
Yeah.
because that's his first major debut. Because I know in
Mhm.
Yoshi's Island that is actually Baby Bowser, but Koopa Kid showed up in um, Sunshine,
Mhm. Right.
and then I think his next big title for Koopa Kid was in Mario Party, because that's actually the only reference they call him Koopa Kid instead of Bowser Jr. Is in, I think it's Mario
Uh-huh.
Party 4 or 5.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. It's probably yeah. There's only like one place where they do that.
I want to
It's
look at.
very interesting.
I'm looking up the Double Dash character list now.
Yeah. I I did like playing on the Wii too because I think it felt really exciting when it came out when Mario Kart came out on the Wii because like you could have the like actual steering wheel. Not that I ever played with it because I realized I sucked with it, but like it was so exciting like when my parents bought it for us for Christmas, you know?
Any
I was like, "Oh
anyone
my
who
god, a
played with
steering
the
wheel?"
motion controls had a screw loose. The fact that you could plug in
Psychopath.
the fact, and even that today, like with a Switch, whoever
If
plays
you
with
do
motion
that,
controls, get a pro controller. Get a pro
yeah.
controller.
Yeah, if you play with motion controls on Mario Kart to this day, I just want to talk.
You've either got some insane skills or a screw loose. One of the two,
Yeah.
no in between.
Seriously. Yeah. Buttons only. D-pad only.
D-pad, not even the control stick.
Oh no, well you had oh yeah, on the Wii you had because on the Wii you had the connecting thing. Does the Switch
Uh,
have that?
the Switch has a control stick.
Yeah,
The
like on oh, I guess it's on the I'm looking at my Switch right now
yeah,
like an idiot.
I was
Like
about,
duh, like it's on there.
it's right
Because I guess
there.
on the Wii it wasn't. Yeah. But no, it had the connecting the nunchuck or whatever
Yeah,
they
the
call it.
nunchuck.
Yeah.
But you could
Yeah, oh yeah,
also.
no, I played with the nunchuck. Played with the nunchuck. That's right.
I just plugged in a GameCube controller.
Oh, okay. That's smart.
You could play with a GameCube. Any game I could play with a GameCube controller, I did.
That's really smart though because I feel like GameCube had like the most intuitive controller to like ever exist.
Until the PlayStation 5's controller, which
Yeah.
I will say hands down the fact that a tech demo for the
Uh
PlayStation 5 blew my mind and was like, "Hey, you got to come over and play this game that tells you about your controller." You
uh
know you've done something good there.
right. Yeah, definitely.
What console do you
Definitely.
think has the worst controller?
Other than the Nintendo 64,
Under the
which we already kind of talked about. Truthfully, I feel like I don't know, I've never stuck with a console for long enough for it to like bother me, I guess. I feel like cuz I went through okay, so we're in Nintendo household but I had a lot of friends that had Xboxes and PlayStations and stuff, which is like really where I like kind of popped off with gaming outside of like Nintendo stuff. Um and so for a while I started on Xbox because my friend had an Xbox, so we always played that. Well, actually, I started with like an old PlayStation, like PlayStation, like or the original PlayStation, like
Yeah.
or maybe the PlayStation 2, I can't remember. But then like really in like high school it was mostly Xbox. So I got super used to the Xbox controller, and then when I was out of high school, my my ex-boyfriend, he had a PlayStation, so I had to get used to the PlayStation controller. I think the only thing that like bothered me about that was like learning like triangle and square and shit. Like it really pissed me off for a while. Um and now when I play with a controller on my PC, I use an Xbox controller. So I guess maybe I would say PlayStation because like you have a choice between PlayStation and Xbox really with like PC games, you know, and I went
Yeah.
Xbox. So
So I've got two that they tie for me for worst
Mhm.
controller, and that's original Xbox because that thing
Okay.
it's bulky and it's awkward in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Dreamcast. Have you ever held a Dreamcast controller?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Have you
I've never played one.
do you know what a Dreamcast controller looks like off the top of your head?
I don't think I do. No.
Oh, I'm about to send this in the
Oh,
chat,
yeah.
and
I
it
want to
is.
see.
If you want a clunky mess, this is the controller. So,
Oh, what the heck?
so you had that. Your save card would go in the back of it, kind of like a 64 controller. But
Okay.
also at the same time, that middle piece could be taken out, and you could put a screen there that some games used. That's also where half of your wireless, well, not wireless, but your internet adapter went into, was the back of the controller.
That's insane.
And then instead of like commonly a square circle, or I believe I'm trying to think of an Xbox controller. What do they have on the right and
A,
left?
B, X, Y.
Yeah.
And then you have the numpad on, or not the numpad, the D-pad on the other side. And then there's 2 sticks
So
on each side.
theirs were a actual like right and left button.
Oh.
That's what they
What?
called
I
it.
need to look at this picture again. Yeah, pull that picture up on stream so they can see too. What the heck?
I'll see if I can actually. Oh yeah, there we go. We can put it. We can put it where you
You can
are.
put it over my face if you have to. Yeah, that's really weird.
So, but you had the right button being blue. So it's a
Yeah, something
time.
about the layout of the colors really drives me nuts. I don't know why.
Oh, same
It's like,
here because like I know. So I know Xbox usually is green on the bottom, and then yellow, red, blue. If my memory's serving correctly, it's been a while since I've looked at a colored
yeah,
Xbox
yeah, it's
controller.
been a long time since I've seen a colored one, so I can't fully remember, but I think you're right.
And then, but I know for PlayStation, when they still had colored on theirs, it was blue, red, magenta, green.
Yeah, mhm.
Because you had to distinguish magenta and red from each other for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think that really threw me when I switched from Xbox to PlayStation. Not, I mean, first of all, the colors, like, second of all, just like where the buttons are located that do what, action. And then like the fact that they're not letters, but they're fucking shapes. I was like, kill me. Like, what what is this?
What are
But
you?
eventually you get used to it, right? Just like with anything. But yeah, I mean, I must have some sort of unconscious bias towards an Xbox controller if that's what I go with for my PC games when I play with a controller. So
And that's perfectly fair. I've always been that person because everyone will ask me, well, Marvel or DC or PlayStation or Xbox. I grew up with a PlayStation 2, an Xbox 360, a PS3,
uh-huh.
and then a whatever the next one after 360 was for Xbox. Elite. A-
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've always been a Marvel and DC fan. I've sat on the fence line for most of my nerddom.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the Xbox controller just kind of has like it feels better in my hand. I don't know why.
That's
I
fair.
feel like it's more like rounded, whereas like PlayStation controllers are a little more like rectangular. I don't
Yeah.
know how they are now. I've never touched a PS5 in my life, so I don't know what they're like now, but I
They've
still feel like they're a little more like rectangular and like angular than like the rounded kind of shape of an Xbox controller.
I because I'm not familiar with the newer Xbox controllers. Do they have both of the control sticks in the middle, or is
I
one
wish I knew where mine was.
still up in the right hand side?
Yeah, so you have I wish I knew where mine was. Yeah, so you have one like up like on the left and then one like down on the right.
Yeah. Okay. So they still did
Mhm.
that. So I'd say the
Mhm.
biggest comparison between the new DualSense it's much fuller and it's definitely a lot more rounded than what it used to
Okay,
be.
that's cool.
Um,
Yeah, they are slightly off. Yeah, they're slightly off from each other. So I feel like I don't know, it feels a little more intuitive. Because on PlayStation they're directly across from each
they're
other, aren't
directly
they?
across from each
Yep.
other, and so your thumbs are framed right there,
Mhm.
which I've
Yes,
always
yeah.
liked if I've needed to quickly go over to either side or something.
Yeah,
Like if we start talking like fighting
that makes
games,
sense.
give me a PlayStation
Okay, yeah.
controller every day.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a really good exception right there. Like fighting games, like I feel like that could be not super great on an Xbox controller because of the way that you have to like move your fingers. But I guess everybody's hands are like different sizes and shit, so I guess like whatever works for them. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, it's all personal preference.
It's all personal, yeah. Mhm.
So, at what point do you think you switch to primarily PC gaming?
Um, so I played a little bit like growing up. Obviously I didn't have like a very nice like massive gaming PC like I do now. But I did play okay. the start of like my PC gaming journey, I guess I should say, is okay. Well, first I would watch my cousin play Sims. I wasn't allowed to play, but I was allowed to watch. Because I was like a little kid. It's
I
like,
remember those
like not
days.
the most
Yeah.
appropriate game for little kids. And then but like me actually playing was like do you remember Webkins? Do you know what Webkins
I
is?
know what Webkins
It's
is.
the stuffed animals that you would buy, and then you can,
Yes.
like, register them, and then you could play the game online. That and, like, Club Penguin, and, what was it? There was one that was kind of like Webkinz, but it wasn't stuffed animals, it was, like, little, um, animals, though. What the frick was it called?
Neopets?
Neopets, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Neopets, so, like, games like that, like the little online stupid games, I loved those when I was a kid, so that was probably that I went through a big phase with those when I was in, like, elementary school, maybe even a little bit in middle school, depending on what game it was, and then, like, I remember, like, Club Penguin was all the rage in middle school, like, everybody was playing that when I was in middle school, which is so funny to me.
See, for me, it wasn't Club Penguin. My social circles in school was Pop Tropica.
Okay, I've heard of it, I never played it, though.
So it was slightly educational, but they made it
Oh, okay.
fun. And like, so when they do like a collab world or something like that, it would be with a book. And so like, I remember them doing one for Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Um,
Oh, okay.
and then they did a superhero one where they made terrible references for DC and Marvel without getting copyrighted. Uh,
Oh, no.
and stuff like that. And it was that was our Club Penguin for my area.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so funny how much it's, like how different it is based on, like, where you grew up and, like, how old you are and, like, that sort of thing, like, what was big. So funny.
And
But
then
yeah, so that for PC, which mostly it was, like, I was playing on, like, my laptop or whatever, or, like, my family's computer. Remember when you had to share the family computers?
yep.
What a nightmare. And then even worse if you're as old as I am, if you remember dial-up internet and you
Yeah.
had to get off because somebody had to use the phone.
You'd wait 2 hours for an image to load.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm aging myself. I don't remember it for that long. Like I didn't have it in my household for that long because I'm not that old, but like, I remember it. And then let's see. As far as actually moving to like PC specifically, it was in adulthood. Um, it was after I, like, moved out and, like, had a job and, that sort of thing. And then I even stopped gaming pretty much entirely for, like, a lot of my early 20s because I worked so much, that I just, like, never had time to do it. At one point, I had, like, 3 jobs, and then at one point, I only had 1 job, but it was just, like, such a shit show that I was working, like, 80 hours a week. So,
Jeez.
I didn't game at all. So, I actually got back into PC gaming really only like 2 years ago. Um, so yeah, I built a new PC and I was like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna get back into this. So yeah.
Well, that's real. I like. I definitely understand the I've taken a break from gaming. I know
Hmm.
there's been a couple periods of time where I would play every now and then, but it wasn't enough that I was like, yeah, gaming. I know there was a large period
Yeah.
where I switched specifically to tabletop. I
Yes.
was
Yeah.
playing board
Hmm.
I was playing
Okay.
board
Right.
games, I was doing Dungeons and Dragons almost full time type of deal.
Yeah. Well, it's hard when you have like so many different hobbies to like, fit everything in somewhere. It's kind of difficult.
I feel
But
that
and it
to
was
my core
I
right
feel like
now.
I never, like, played games. Okay, so I feel like when I was younger, I never called myself a gamer really because, like, eh, I'm not good at games, right? And I feel like especially when I was playing with my friends who had, like, Xboxes and PlayStations and, like, we were playing Halo and Call of Duty and that sort of thing, they were they were, like, so cracked at it, and I was just, like, there to have a good time, you know? And
Oh yeah.
and I did my best, but I, like, wasn't great, and kids are mean or whatever, and they didn't mean it in like a harmful way, but they would be like, "You suck," like whatever, which like I knew I did, so I didn't take offense, and they were just like messing with me. They were my friends and stuff, but like I feel like a part of that always kind of stuck with me. Of like, oh, you're not a gamer because like you're not like a crack shot at Halo.
Yeah.
Um, so so I feel like even into adulthood, like I never really considered myself a gamer until a couple years ago when I started PC gaming again, really, because um I just kind of that's always just kind of lived with me, and I was like, you know what? That's BS. Like I've played games my whole life. I can call myself a gamer. It's
Yeah.
fine if I haven't played for 4 years.
No,
Like it's fine.
and I think that perception on what makes a gamer's interesting, especially within the gaming community, because
Yes.
there's so many different definitions for it. Like even this, like us being on Twitch, I know me and you hold the variety streamer hardcore,
Hmm. Yes.
especially within
Like
the cabin.
I may not finish the game I started on stream the other day kind of variety.
Yeah. Which that's my whole goal for this year is to complete more games on stream.
Actually finish the games. Yeah.
But um the really I find it interesting because like you have your horror gamers and they play nothing but
Mhm.
horror or thriller games. You have your action gamers, you have your COD players, and like we have esports now,
Right.
which is considered an Olympic
Mhm.
sport. Like that's
Which is so cool. It's so cool, honestly.
it's mind blowing. Like because I did a little bit of research of it in college of like where competitive gaming started.
Uh-huh.
And to pull a really interesting topic for it, did you know Dungeons and Dragons had a competitive league?
I've heard that before. I've
So
heard that. I didn't know how big it was or anything.
so back in the day with what they considered second edition or advanced Dungeons and Dragons, they would have what we consider now the Adventures League, which stores can host and everything. But
Oh, okay.
it was considered competitive D&D. And it was the idea that you and a party of adventurers would sign up together, and based on certain things that you did in the module, you would get points added or deducted to your team's score.
Oh.
And it's also the reason we have it's a very famous campaign module called the Tomb of Annihilation. It's the hardest campaign ever written. It was written by the founder of Dungeons and Dragons, Gary Gygax.
Mhm.
And like
Scary.
good old Gary, misogynist piece of shit, but still, he gave us one of the best
You're
fantasy
right.
games in the world.
I
Um,
know.
but he got tired of people coming into the Adventures League and coming to his tables and stuff, and they'd be like, "I've got me and my party's done this much, and we're all level whatever the highest level was, and none of us have been killed in a dungeon because if you died during a competitive league game." That character was done and over. You couldn't take your reference code and apply at another tournament. You had to start a
Okay.
fresh character.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like it was
That's a
it was
nightmare.
a thing.
That's actually a nightmare.
So Gary Gygax filled a temple with the worst traps, the hardest puzzles and riddles, because he was tired of all these big shot players coming into his table. And like, there's traps. Like, there's one of them I know right off the bat that after you make it through the first hallway, if you make it through the first hallway,
Mhm.
there's this giant like motif of a goblin's head at the end of the hall, and you can see something that glitters on the inside. If you reach your hand into it, you touch an orb of disintegration, instant death. You're just dead.
Wow. Wow.
There's another one that's
Mage
it.
hand.
Oh, there's another one in another area that if you touch it, it teleports you back outside of the dungeon with none of your gear.
Oh my
Your
god.
entire inventory drops to the floor and you are teleported back outside.
Telling you, man, mage hand cantrip. You need it.
And it's just like, Gary, what were
Don't
you
touch things.
on? And of course they converted it to 5e.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I don't know if I'd even want to play that. That sounds truly
They,
atrocious.
they've made it because if you've never played an advanced, like older edition of D and
Mhm.
D, especially past 3.5, oh, you are in for a time. Play the original Baldur's Gate games.
Yeah.
Play the
Mhm.
first Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2. You will see what
Yeah.
hell was for original Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons players.
Our DM tells us that all the time in my current campaign. He's like, "You guys don't even know pain, okay?" He's like, "I've been playing D&D my whole life. You don't know pain."
The three big
Anytime we bitch about something, he's like, "You have no idea."
the, screw your class, screw your weapon. The three tools any adventurer needs is rope, a 10-foot pole, and a lantern. You're set for any dungeon.
Nothing else. Yeah.
Oh
How
god.
funny.
So so I know you're a player. What got you into Dungeons and Dragons? You'll be the first person I've actually
um
talked about analog play on here. So
yeah, so it was actually just so it was a couple years ago. So my one of my best friends, she her now husband has been playing D&D like his whole life. Actually, he just wrote a book too. I'll have to send you the link for that.
yes,
He wrote a book
please.
on like DM stuff. Yeah, super cool. But he he's been playing like his whole life. He's been a DM forever. And so he started a campaign with her and like with some of their friends, and she asked me to join. Because at first I didn't join because I didn't really have like time for it, but then I like switched jobs or whatever and I did have time. So I so I ended up joining because they lost a person, so they're like, "Oh, cool, we need somebody anyways." Um and I played for like a year and really enjoyed it. The only like hard part is like being a group of all adults and trying to find time to like actually play and like everybody to get together in one location because we don't play online, we play in person.
Yep.
So it's definitely hard to like get everybody like in the same place.
You know, the same problems
Also the
every D&D party has.
yeah, to answer Dan's question in chat, currently I am a bard. I'm a bard. But and then my husband, he would come to our sessions every once in a while because he's like, I don't want to hang out at home by myself or whatever. So he'd come and he'd just like play his Switch in the corner or like something or his Steam Deck or whatever, you know. And then he was like, but he was always just like making funny commentary, like just meta commentary, you know. And everyone thought it was so funny, so they asked him to join too. Which was so it's really nice. So now we both play in the same campaign. So we try to play once a month. Doesn't always work out, but so I've been playing for like 2 years. It doesn't feel like it because of how
Yeah.
frequently we have to cancel and reschedule and stuff, but so I'm still like I still consider myself like a noob at D&D because like in reality I haven't played too terribly much. Even though I've been playing for 2 years, but I mean, I love Baldur's Gate 3 and stuff, so like I know like I'm pretty like decent on like the basics of D&D and stuff. I definitely don't know like all of the lore and like everything crazy going on and stuff,
No
but
one needs to pay
yeah.
attention to the lore. Unless
Yeah,
you're running through
it's
every
like too
campaign
much.
module, you don't need to pay attention to it. Um,
Yeah.
I always tell people whenever they get nervous about playing for the first time or something like that, or as you said, you consider yourself a noob for it. I always ask three questions, and I go, "Can you do math at a fifth grade level?
Yeah.
Can you read at a third grade level? And do you have the
Mhm.
imagination of a toddler? All right, you can play D
Right.
and D. Like that
Exactly.
is those are my criterias for a campaign. If you can do those
Yes.
three things, you're golden.
Well, and the
Um,
programs and like the websites that they have out like nowadays like makes it really easy too because it kind of walks you through it. Like when you level up, it tells you what you're adding, you know, like if you get a subclass or whatever, that sort of thing. So it kind of just like does the work for you and you don't really have to question too much, which is nice.
speaking of subclass, what subclass is your bard?
Good question. I can look it up really quick. I
Yeah,
actually can't remember. I want to say college of hang on. actually can't
I know
remember
my
how
last
I.
character I actually got to play in a campaign. I was doing a Haragon swashbuckler rogue multi-class into Shadow Sorcerer,
Oh dang.
and that was a fun one. I Seth Tanner had a lot of fun running around picking people's pockets.
See.
I know Baldur's Gate 3 has definitely opened a lot of people's eyes for 5e, and I love that. And for standard
Yes.
D&D
I
lore,
think it's so nice.
I would suggest another really good play is Celesta, which
Celesta. Okay.
it's about to get a sequel. I actually think they're demos on the stream next fest right now. But because where we had the SRD for free, they took everything from the SRD, put it into a game, and then added more subclasses and stuff for their world. But
Oh, okay.
it feels like because Boulder Gate still has like some of that gamey feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Celeste feels like I'm sitting there looking at a tabletop on Roll20 or Dungeon Foundry, and I'm playing a game. Like I'm playing a
Okay.
session of D&D.
That's cool.
And I haven't beat it because their main story campaign is stupid long. And then they came out with
That's D&D for you.
that's D&D. And then they came out with 2 DLC stories as well, and I'm just like I want to finish this, but I don't have time to finish this. But I'm looking forward to
Right.
for the second one.
Yeah, I definitely need to get into like more D&D video games and like see what's out there because I don't really like uh I haven't really like branched out outside of Baldur's Gate 3, truthfully. I'm College of Eloquence is my bard.
You fairy never can fail a persuasion check, my ass, bard.
Yeah.
God, all I
It's
heard was
crazy.
all I heard is I'm not gonna be able to do
She's
anything about this. Sure, have
she's a
whatever you want.
charismatic motherfucker for sure. Like it's crazy.
All I heard was a DM's nightmare.
I feel like my DM had like a similar reaction when I chose that one. He was probably like, "Fuck you."
Like optimally, it's great. It's a wonderful subclass. As a
Oh
DM's point of
yeah.
view, I just go fuck. Go,
I know. Anytime I'm like, "Can I try to persuade?" He's like, "Oh my god."
it's sad that because in 3.5 and Pathfinder they have a ruling for like actual table play called "Can I take 10?" And it's
Mhm.
so instead of rolling a dice, you take 10 and just add your modifier. Because at a certain
Oh,
point,
okay.
especially with Pathfinder and somewhat with 3.5, you get to the
Mhm.
point where you have bonuses from so much shit and feats and stuff like that that I know my last Pathfinder character, I had a plus 10 in intimidation.
Oh,
So if I
dang.
wanted to intimidate something, hey, I'm taking 10. Do I beat the check?
Whatever
Okay,
works.
cool. Um
That's hilarious,
and I'm
honestly.
glad 5th edition doesn't have that because
Yeah. Yeah, my persuasion is plus 11.
yeah, see, right there. Anything over a 12
Yeah.
and anything over
My
probably
deception's
8.
also plus 11.
And then you have Jack of all trades, which automatically gives you a +1 and everything else too.
Yep. Yep.
You're a problem child. I can see it.
Yeah, I am. I am. I'm not great in combat, but, other than that,
Oh yeah,
I
Eloquence has no combat abilities, but they're
oh,
great
yeah,
for
none at
outside of
all.
combat.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can, like, heal, I can, like, heal my party members, which helps and that sort of thing. If I'm not down,
If you're not dead already,
if I'm
yeah.
down, then it sucks. Yeah. And I better, I, like, hope that somebody has a potion.
No one has potion. No one carries
No,
those on them.
nobody ever has potions. Like it seems like everybody has them when like we don't really need them. But then when we do need them, I'm like, well, where did they go? I thought everybody had some.
Parties never have
Desperate
potions.
times.
They will always kill the first thing they see, and they never know how to retreat. Hands down, always.
Yeah, we're guilty of all of that in our campaign
So,
for sure.
so because I know I have a bunch of campers listening in right now for the live, and for those who listen in later, we are working on a special project right now that I'm in getting in the works. But this is my warning to all of you. And if you're watching the video one and you're watching the live right now, I want you to look me in the eyes. You can run away from combat encounters. You can retreat.
You're allowed to run. Don't make the mistakes that me and my my party members make, and we just never run.
I could never tell you how many times I've had people that just go, "No, we're gonna fight this out." I'm like, "But run." No, I don't wanna. And it's like, "Oh, all right. We're gonna learn the rules of fuck around and find out because you're about to find out."
Yep. And then somebody's mad at the end of it because they gotta make a new character.
Yep, exactly.
Because they're dead.
Have you ever played any other tabletop RPGs other than 5e?
No, I haven't. Just D&D 5e. Yeah.
There. Oh, I'm gonna have to fix that.
I know that
I'm gonna
there's
have to
like a
fix
lot
that
of
for
like
most
good
of the
ones out
party.
there.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah. But I
especially
guess like what I play a lot of like board games. They're not like necessarily like tabletop RPGs. Like does Catan count as a tabletop RPG? I don't really know.
no, it's a
Settlers of Catan. Or is that
Settlers
just a
of
board game?
Settlers of Catan is a tabletop management game. That's what Settlers of Catan
Okay,
is.
management. Yeah, I feel like that would make more sense. Yeah, it's more like like building and management. Yeah. My sister loves that
I
game.
hate Catan.
And she's cracked at
I
it.
will
Like
fight people in Catan.
I hate playing with her because like she always wins every single time. I'm like, I don't want to play this with you anymore.
I will fight people in Catan. I will fight people in Monopoly, and I will fight people at Risk.
Dude, the game of life, I will fuck people up over that game. Yeah. I will say things that I can't take back.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like
Which is why
we can't unhear that.
we all need to get the Steam version and all play together then.
Yes, that's what me and Gab were saying. Is we should get 2 other people and play Game of Life.
I would be so down for that.
Yes.
I used to have
Yeah,
an
Monopoly
old
gets heated too.
I used to have an old CD copy, a video game version of the game, like early video game version of the Game of Life. It was only single player, but it was at my grandmother on her PC, and I just remember playing it relentlessly.
Oh my god.
Excuse me.
Some games just like have you in a chokehold.
Speak.
Oh, speaking of Monopoly,
Oh.
it was really cool. It's so funny because like this is not like related to video games, but
You're
just
good.
games in general, I guess. They did that like life-size Monopoly thing that's like traveling around or whatever, and we went and played that around Christmas time. Me and my family, we went and played like life-size Monopoly in Denver. It was so cool.
That sounds dope.
It was really fun. It's only like an hour long or whatever. Like you don't like sit there until like
That's not a
as
true
long
game of
as an actual
Monopoly.
game of Monopoly would be. Yeah, but they like, they find a way to like cut it off kind of thing and like get a winner, but it was super cool.
That's actually really dope, and I did not know that was a
Yeah.
thing.
Yep. You could get sent to jail and like have to be behind bars and it's super cool.
They take you to the actual precinct of Denver and lock you up for a couple hours in the dunk tank.
Oh god, imagine. Oh my god. Imagine.
And then they drive you back after you get snake eyes or doubles at least
Your
3
family's at
times.
home already. Imagine.
So you said some games just have you on a chokehold. Is there any games recently that you can think of that just have a hold of you?
Marvel Rivals is like a problem. I play almost every single night with Gabrielle Slays. It it's a problem. Like I think that at this point we just enjoy punishment and pain because
Yeah, that
it
sounds about
hurts
right.
us when we play. It hurts to lose and to get yelled at, especially because recently we've both been playing strategists together, healers. So like to like just constantly get blamed for everything, even when it's not
Yeah,
your fault, is like
jeez.
so painful. But for some reason we just keep playing. We just can't stop. It's so much fun, even when it's painful. And usually we just call it when we've had enough, and we call it for the night, and then we're back again the next day,
Hey.
as if nothing ever happened. But yeah, that game's been huge. I played the original Overwatch a little bit back in the day. Like not like I wasn't like cracked at it or anything. I wasn't like super good, but I would play. But then I didn't really play Overwatch 2 because it just kind of sucked. And I know some people would argue with me on that. And if you like it, like I'm not judging anybody who enjoys it. I just feel like in comparison to the original game, it it was just kind of a letdown.
Yeah,
And they changed a lot of things and took a lot of like good things away, like the loot boxes and stuff.
they're
So
bringing them back.
um
They're bringing back loot
I heard that.
boxes.
I did hear that. I did hear that. So that's a win for the Overwatch community for sure. But I don't think I ever enjoyed Overwatch the way I enjoy Marvel Rivals, you know?
Yeah,
Like it's been a long time since okay, part of the reason I had to stop playing Overwatch also is because like I would get really competitive and like ruin my own mood. So I try not to do that with like rivals cuz like it lives in my blood from the Overwatch days, where like you just crash out
yep.
over the smallest little thing. So I like try to like still enjoy myself, and I think that's helping. Like I think that's why I'm enjoying rivals so much more than I ever enjoyed any other sort of like hero team shooter, is because like I'm intentionally trying to like have fun while I do it.
Yeah. No, and that's completely fair. I mean, I did a little bit of the Overwatch scene for a while. My main was Brigitte and
Mhm.
Junkrat. Uh
Oh, okay, Junkrat, nice.
and then I stopped probably right before 2 came out, honestly. I don't
Yeah.
remember who the last hero was that came out that I remember. Um but I stopped for a bit there, and then but my big one that I would rage at was Siege. Me and a bunch of buddies
Yeah.
would play Siege, and
I I feel like a lot of people rage at Siege. I feel like that's like not a game you can play if you're not willing to rage at it,
oh
you
yeah,
know?
and it's just like, and then we started doing competitive. Now, I have never found a worse competitive community other than League of Legends, and that's just
Oh,
because League of
I
Legends is just toxic. But
I will die on the hill that like League has the absolute worst community.
yeah,
Like just so toxic and just for what reason, you know? It's
but
crazy to me.
I've always had the mentality of I want to play this game because it's fun and I'm playing with friends, and
Yes.
because I'm playing with friends, that's what makes it fun.
Mhm.
And the fact that like with Siege, it started not becoming that, and Overwatch
Yeah.
definitely left that. I used to do Call of Duty Warzone for a while, and
Okay.
that one
Yeah.
also, like, after my friends stopped playing, I was like, "There's no point of me doing this."
Yeah, because then it just like you just start to hate your life, and then like you become like toxic, like not just to other people, but like to yourself almost
Yep.
because of the other like the rest of the toxicity around you, and like you're not having as much fun anymore. That's like a big part of my brand as a streamer is like kind of going back to the topic of like not feeling like you can call yourself a gamer or like that sort of thing, but like a big part of my brand is just like playing games for fun.
Yeah.
And like anybody who plays games and enjoys them is a gamer, and a gamer is anybody who plays games and enjoys them, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that it should have to be a miserable fucking experience
No,
to
it
like
shouldn't.
play video games, you know? And if you're miserable playing video games, why?
Then then
Why do it?
then maybe it's
You know?
not for you. Yeah. Like, exactly. Why do it?
Yeah,
Why?
like, and if you're like, who cares if you're good, bad? If you're not having fun, it doesn't matter. The only thing that should matter is if you're enjoying yourself, because like, why waste your time? You know?
Like, I think
Because let's be real, it's a hobby.
It is a
Unless
hobby.
you're a fucking pro player, like on an actual esports team, like it's a hobby. And like if you don't enjoy it, don't do it, you know?
Well, so like I started it a while back once I got gifted a capture card and I could start doing stuff with my PlayStation more and everything. I was like,
Mhm.
hey, we're gonna play through the entire Kingdom Hearts series. I haven't touched it in a couple months, and that is because when I started Kingdom Hearts 1, I was like, hey, do you guys want me to do this on the hardest difficulty because I hate myself?
Oh, I'm proud mode.
I'm
Oh
proud,
good.
and then critical mode because they upped it
Oh
even
no.
worse. But
Oh god.
it got to the point. Do you remember the Ursula boss fight from Kingdom Hearts 1?
Don't talk to me about that bitch. I
Exactly. I had to beat it off screen because I was literally just cursing. My roommate came
I
up one time and opened the door and goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And I'm like drenched in sweat, middle of like just as summer hits fall and like just dying in here and just like, "Fuck, no, I'm not."
It's so funny because like I straight up remember when I was younger playing Kingdom Hearts 1 and like hating my life during that boss fight and having to like walk away multiple times before I like completely crashed out, and then like coming back to it or whatever. Uh and then I did a replay. I did like a whole like franchise replay of Kingdom Hearts just like on my own a couple years ago just because I was like I want to replay through all of them because I'd never like sat through and just like played all of them. Like I'd always just played them around like
Yeah.
when they were released or like randomly, um I was like I'm gonna just play all of these bitches in release order, at least all the ones that you can play. Some of them you can't play anymore.
You just watch a movie and
um
read a book.
yeah, you just watch it on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. um and it was so funny when I was on Kingdom Hearts 1 and I got to that Ursula boss fight and I was like, I remember this bitch. Like,
Well, and
and
then
it happened again where I was like, I have to walk away before I actually break a monitor. Like, I'm so mad.
like I'm stuck on Maleficent's boss fight. I
Mm,
it took me weeks.
she's kind of a
I
bitch
did it on
too.
stream, but I beat her first form, and now I'm stuck on the fucking dragon.
Oh, yeah, yeah, she kind of sucks.
And like I've been trying here and there to do a little bit of grinding off screen because I know I need to get my level up and all that fun jazz and but I'm
Hmm.
also just like, stop. Just die. Let me beat this game so I can go on to the shitty card game. I know I'm not
Yes.
like I know I'm gonna have a decent time,
Okay.
but I also know I'm going to hate playing this goddamn card game.
I hate it. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. I always say it's my favorite game franchise of all time. It's in my bios on like social medias. Okay, like that's how much I love these games. I fucking hate Chain of Memories so much. I hate it. I can't stand playing it. I love the story part of it. The story's great and the story's completely necessary. Like if you don't
All the
like
games are
play that
necessary for
game,
whatever goddamn
yeah, like
reason.
if you don't play that game, then like you're not gonna fucking understand anything that happens afterwards. You're gonna be like, who the fuck is nominate? You're
Who the
not
hell's
gonna get it,
nominee?
all
What?
right?
Who's Roxas? Who's this guy
Yeah,
telling me to memorize?
yeah, like Days and Cage 2 are going to make literally no sense to you whatsoever if you don't play that game. Um, but I hate playing it. And so when I did my like replay a couple years ago, I opened Chain of Memories and I'm playing on PC now, right? And I was maybe like 30 minutes into it when I was like, I remember that I hate this fucking game. And I closed it and I was like, we're just gonna go rewatch the story on YouTube
so there
for a refresher because I don't want to play it.
so for 1.5 and the definitive edition of 1.5 where they have Kingdom Hearts 1 Chain of Memories 2 and then I think they have the story beat for 365 over 2 or whatever fraction
Are
we
you talking
name.
about like what's in the like pack for that one?
Yeah.
I can look. I can look. I have it.
But so for Kingdom
I
Hearts
think
Chain of Memories,
I think that's all of it. Oh, and Birth by Sleep's in that
Birth
one
by
too, I
Sleep's in
think.
that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Um so they made it easier for Chain of Memories uh to make it where if you watch through all of 365/8 over 2, since most of that takes place while Sora's going through Castle Oblivion, if
Oh
you
yeah, it overlaps a little bit. Yeah.
if you watch through all of that, then you get cards based off of Roxas's Keyblades from that game.
Oh, interesting. So if you like watch days first.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Very
Um
interesting.
so I'm going to probably be doing that just to get it out of the way and also make my playthrough much easier, because then it also
Yeah.
unlocks some cards for Riku as well.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that.
Uh,
That's really nifty that they did
yeah.
that.
But no, Kingdom
Though I feel like if I was doing like a full like playthrough of them, I feel like I couldn't bring myself to do days before Chain of Memories, even though I know the storyline, it just feels wrong. Um,
well, and that's when you get in the weird story. That's where you get the weird choice of your playthrough. Do you want to do by release, or do you want to do
yeah.
by actual timeline? Because
I feel like
if it's
I'm
by
just
actual
such a
timeline,
stickler for like release order when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, because like it gives you that feeling of like what the fuck, and then eventually you like figure it out, and like people who play it in more of like a chronological order, they don't get to experience that, and it kind of like breaks my heart a little
oh,
bit.
and I'd say for anyone with a first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts as a franchise, do it in release order.
Yeah, like if you're gonna play it for the first time, like please play them in the order that they were released. And not even in the order that they're listed in the freaking like packs um for like PC or whatever, that you can buy them in like the group
Those are in
bundles or
correct
whatever.
order.
Days is listed incorrectly. It's you're supposed to it's for some reason they're switched, unless they
Oh,
fixed it. Unless they fixed it.
it
I
did
don't
come
know.
after 2.
Stupid.
That does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Yeah. Which probably because like once again chronologically like it makes more sense, and then it kind of like explains things, but
Yeah.
it kind of like I feel like it's kind of a huge like spoiler to do it the other way.
No, that makes sense. Like that honestly makes sense of like how you feel about that. Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason they listed those two in the wrong like release order. Very
Huh.
weird.
I don't think I've ever noticed that actually. Wow.
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
Um, favorite world. All Kingdom Hearts favorite world.
Ooh. Oh god, all of it. Okay. Um I really like Pride Lands in KH2.
Okay.
I just think it's so fun being like little like Simba Sora.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's so like different from like especially like even like KH1, where like you don't really like get that. Like I mean, yeah, you turn into like a merman at some point, and you can swim around, but like
But we hate
turning
that
into a
level.
lion was like, oh my god, dude, and the movement when you're swimming, like
Don't get me
kill me.
started. So you know how you
It's
get the
so
dolphin. You
annoying.
know how you get the dolphin dive, and that's
Yeah.
how you get to the Ursula boss fight, right?
hmm
That fight is easier if you unequip the dolphin dive.
Yes, that's what I had to do during my replay, and I was like, I literally, I was so pissed. I was struggling so much. It got to the point where I was like, even though I've played this game, I'm fucking Googling it and I'm seeing what Reddit has to say
Yeah.
about this boss fight because I can't beat it. I'm crashing out. And so I remember reading somebody suggesting to like turn that off, and I did and beat it next try. I was like, no way.
I never thought disabling sprint for a level would be the fix.
Would it be helpful? Yeah, seriously. Move slower? Okay.
Oh,
What?
jeez.
Yeah, I know. The games are so funny, honestly.
I,
They're so wacky.
I would say my go-to for each of them, for if we take it all as a whole, it's a tie between Nightmare Before Christmas, because that's just a classic, and it progressively, graphically, just got better looking with every one of them. And
Mhm.
then Pirates of the Caribbean, specifically in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
they had no right to go, hey, we're gonna put the cinematic filter on all of this level and we're going to make Sora looks great. Goofy looks decent. Donald is a eldritch horror. They did not have to animate and show every
so
piece of
crazy.
fur. Every feather on that duck is there.
It's actually so dumb, yeah.
But,
It's like, oh god.
okay, then
Poor Donald.
flip side, worst level. Other than Little Mermaid, because we're
Yeah,
just
we
shoving
already talked about
that's
that
it. That's in
one,
its own
so
category. That's in its own category of hell.
because we've talked about how my memory is really bad, I'm gonna look up like all of the worlds for all of them, in all of the games because I feel like I'm gonna instantly jump to KH2 because that's the one I've played the most, because it's my favorite. So let's see. Let me just look at all of them.
Let's just look at every single one of them.
Yeah.
I can already tell you my least favorite, and it's a tie. And I hate
Yeah,
that
I'm
it's a
like, I
tie.
feel like I have a couple, and that's why like I'm like, okay, we need to
It's a
look
tie
this
between
up.
it's a tie between three of them, and they all
3. Oh god.
and it all comes from Kingdom Hearts 3. But they all
Yeah, I
have
feel
their
like mine.
distinct reason too.
Okay, so I'm not a fan of space paranoids.
That's the
It's
Tron one, right?
the Tron one, yeah, in
Aw,
KH2. I not a fan. On it's just
I'm a
I
Tron
don't
fan,
know.
so I was like, yay.
Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I've never seen Tron, so like I just was like, I don't fucking know. Um, Keyblade Graveyard pisses me off,
Fair.
and so that's not fun. But I'm sure that there's more in KH3. So give me a second. Um, this is the one that I've played. I've only played this twice, I believe.
I was about to say it should at least warrant 2 playthroughs, one before the DLC
Mhm.
came out, and then one after the DLC came out.
Yes. Mm, I don't know if I remember which ones I really didn't like though. What are your hated ones in KH3?
Hated is the correct
Tell
word for
me.
that.
Tell me.
Right off the bat, Frozen. Like,
Oh, okay. Oh, I
because
remember
because
now.
that is up the mountain, down the mountain, up the mountain, down the mountain. Here's a song. Here's a song that's going to be poorly edited, where you can't
Mhm.
hear any of it, of either the people talking over it or the song.
Yeah, yeah, the audio is really weird. Oh, okay, wait, Big Hero 6 though. Can we
So so
Oh,
I'll get
did I
in.
lose you? Oh
Nope,
yeah.
we're good. Uh, Big Hero 6 is my number 2, and it's
Is
because
it?
it's because of what it could have been, and that also just brings another reason of why Frozen is terrible. So because
Oh
of
no.
oh yeah, Caleb's got the lore. And I think Caleb did this rant already with Andy.
Oh,
A couple
really?
yes,
How funny.
and it's a fun
That's
one.
funny.
So as we know, it took 13 years for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out.
Yeah,
It took
way too long.
way too long. When we first got release trailers, it was right after Big Hero 6 came out, and we got to see that Big Hero 6 was going to be one of the worlds we got to go to.
Which is like so exciting.
Super great. Love it.
Yeah.
And then we get interviews of like, yeah, this is going to be our biggest world yet, and it's going to be jam-packed with a bunch of things to do. And then they're like, okay, we're going to be working on Frozen, a movie that has not came out yet. Cool. Fine. Fun.
Mhm.
Did you know Elsa was supposed to be the original villain for the Frozen world?
No?
She was supposed to be the character that turns into a Heartless.
Wait, that would have been sick.
Let me cook. Let me cook, Katja.
Okay.
So they started building the Frozen world. Frozen came out. They was going to do the same thing that they did with Big Hero 6 of, hey, this movie came out, here's a new trailer, you get to go visit this world in Kingdom Hearts 3. Disney went, pause, stop for a moment. This made a shit ton of money. Elsa can no longer be the villain. We require at least 2 of the songs to be put in. and we're gonna pick our two most popular ones, and we need you to make this the best world that you can.
Why
And
can't she be a villain?
because it did that well. It did so good that Disney put that
Oh.
stipulation on it that one of their princesses couldn't be the villain. And like, so the original story for Kingdom Hearts 3's Frozen World originally was when you go up the mountain after she creates the her ice castle, you have Luxine there, right? And she's talking about like what defines good and evil for people, what defines love and emotion for a heart and all that. Her whole spiel that she still gives in that world, by the way.
Oh.
And so when you go through the ice maze, you're supposed to be dealing with the ice maze and then still get the sledding mini game. And then when you come to Elsa and Anna on the frozen lake, Elsa's supposed to turn into the Fenrir Heartless.
Right.
And what we got instead was up the mountain, down the mountain, up the mountain, down the mountain. And then we see Hans run away with Elsa.
Fucking Hans, yeah.
Who doesn't say a single line in that entire world.
God damn it, bro.
And then they have him turn into the Heartless because he's the villain of that world. And it's like, what happened here? And then because Disney said, hey, you have to focus on Frozen.
Bullshit.
Because Disney said you have to focus on Frozen, over half of the stuff that they had planned for Big Hero 6 was cut, and that's why it's so empty.
Yeah, it is. It's like such an empty world for like,
as big as it is.
I guess not for no reason. I know the reason now, but I used to think like for what? Why? For why? Why is it so empty? Yeah, and it's huge.
And it's all Frozen's fault. And then my third one is Toy Story.
Man.
My third one's Toy Story, and not for the world, not for the story, because we get Woody basically telling a Xehanort to fuck himself, which is one of the best lines ever. But it's because if I have to hear the instrumental of "You've Got a Friend in Me" on loop one more goddamn time.
Okay. I would agree that that's like one of the worst things about any of the Kingdom Hearts games, really, is like having to like hear some of the Disney songs, like the instrumentals, like over and over again the entire time you're in the world. It's like it's one of the problems I have with like the Little Mermaid world in KH1 is like, dude, if I have to listen to this fucking music anymore, I'm gonna kill myself.
Well, like usually they're remixed. Usually there's something about them that does really well. Usually they have a really sick battle music.
Yeah, that's true.
Toy Story is "You've Got a Friend in Me" on loop, and when you're in a battle, it goes slightly up tempo and adds, I'm pretty sure, a snare drum.
I don't think I even noticed that. That's awful.
And I'm just like,
now I'm gonna notice.
You're gonna notice it now, and it's just like, why did you do this to Toy Story of all places? I think one of the only places it doesn't play is in some of the stores. And that's because it's like the stores have their own music.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
But it's just...
Truthfully, I don't know if I'll ever play KH3 ever again.
I might...
unless they take a million more years to come out with KH4, then I might replay it as a refresher.
I can't say I never will, because I'm still planned to do the full franchise. And I'm looking forward to playing Kingdom Hearts 3.
You're gonna stream it.
Like, I'm looking forward to going back there, because I've only done the 2 playthroughs. And
it's not a terrible game, it's just not my favorite.
It could have been better.
Yeah, I just feel like for how long we waited for it, I was expecting more, and maybe that's why. Maybe my expectations are just still to this day too high when I think about how long we waited for that game. And then what it actually was, I was like, well, that was kind of a letdown.
I will say it did give us some of our funniest Disney moments out of a lot of the Kingdom Hearts. Because you got Woody telling Xehanort to basically go screw himself and nobody loved him. You've got... And then you've got... my other favorite one is Sully. Whenever you defeat... what's his name? Evil Sora... Birth by Sleep... Vanitas.
Vanitas, yeah, thank you.
And he just takes Vanitas, shoves him through a door, takes that door, shoves it through a door, takes that door, shoves it through a door, and then they grind that door up. And I'm just like, Sully!
You're like, oh my god, yeah.
And the fact
You're
that
like,
they
that
got
was savage. What the heck?
John Goodman to do his voice for Sully on that, and it's just the
Just
fact that that's
amazing.
John Goodman still.
Right. Yeah, we did get a lot of like really good, yeah, like Disney interactions like mixed in with like Organization 13 and stuff, like the crossover was done well.
Yeah,
Like,
especially for this one.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I feel like in other games we didn't really have that. There wasn't a lot of like, like crossing of the two worlds really.
yeah.
I mean there was some obviously with obviously like Sora and Donald and Goofy, right? And then Sora's traveling to all of these Disney worlds, right? Um and then, Mickey shows up in Birth by Sleep and that sort of thing and we've got like Yensid and that sort of thing, but there wasn't a lot of like interacting between the two worlds. So I feel like that was cool.
Well, and I think it was always the rule of like because we got it established in one, we're not supposed to meddle in the worlds. We're supposed to
Mhm.
let them run their course and everything. And I think as time went on, that got a little looser, especially because we
Yeah.
revisited certain worlds and stuff like that. And then I feel, especially by the time we got to three, we still had that premise of we're not supposed to meddle because they make the joke of it with Toy Story, like, oh, we have to pretend we're toys, we're action figures.
Right, right.
And then, like KH2, the Pride Lands, making Sora an animal made total
Right.
sense.
Gotta like fit in. Yeah, exactly.
Even though I think it would be hilarious of just Sora running around as a human
Right,
in
like
Lion
fighting
King.
hyenas. Yeah. Wielding a keyblade against hyenas.
Um,
That's so funny. I just think like little Simba Sora is so cute. He's just so
yeah.
adorable. I love him.
I like that they gave him Scar's colors theme though. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. 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 So he didn't look like Simba.
So,
Yes.
other than Kingdom Hearts, you got any franchises that you absolutely pour that much passion and love into, as we probably just about
Oh
it for about
man.
30 minutes?
I don't know if I have anything that I'm like any other franchise that I've been like that passionate about ever, truthfully. I'm trying to think just in case I'm like forgetting anything, but I really don't know that I've ever like discovered any like entire series that's like kept me coming back, even
Yeah.
if I had to wait 14 years for a damn new game, Like I don't know that there's any other game where I would be like, "Hey, God, it's finally here." I probably would have been like, I'm over it by now? um but with Kingdom Hearts, it was like, oh my God, it's finally here. Like I need it now?
Did you get the rhythm game?
Um yeah, Melody of Memory. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I know a lot of people really hate on that one, but I don't think it's that bad. I kind of enjoy it.
It's a good
Truth,
rhythm
truthfully.
game.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's really not that bad. Maybe it's like I like obviously you see behind me like I play drums, so like rhythms like I'm pretty like decent when it comes to like rhythm games and that sort of thing. So, um I I
I'm
think
only
that's
good
why I
with
think a lot of people like were crashing out over it
I'm only
because
good
they
with
like don't have
rhythm.
rhythm.
I'm only good with rhythm if it's a rhythm game.
Yeah,
And I
that's
want to play
fair.
bass. That's the other worst part. Like
Yeah.
I have this weird fascination every once in a while. I will go on Amazon. I have this bass in my wish list and I will
Mhm.
put it in my cart. I am getting ready to have it there and I go, "Caleb, you don't have rhythm. This is a terrible idea and you're too late in your life right now to try to learn an instrument."
Oh my god.
And then it
No,
just go-
never too late. Never
and
too late.
and then it just goes right back into the wish list.
Never too late. You could always take lessons. I mean, when I did music growing up, like, it was always like lessons. Like I started playing piano when I was like 3 or 4. My mom put us in lessons right away. Um, I learned how to play guitar from like a teacher starting out at least. Um, Drums I taught to myself in my 20s. So it's never too late.
I enjoy the pep talk, but you also, I feel like you're forgetting that I don't have time to do anything anymore.
No, that's so true. I feel like that's like the hardest thing as an adult is like you have all these hobbies and like no time to like do them. And if you, God forbid, you want to pick up a new one and you're like, how am I ever gonna like even get decently good at it? Because where is the time, you know?
I just picked up and started playing Warhammer as a tabletop, and
Okay.
half of that is building miniatures. I
Oh
just
God.
I just now finished my first set of them. And that
Jeez.
and that's building them. I haven't painted them yet.
Oh God. I don't have the patience for stuff like that. I props to you. I could never.
And then with me and my coworkers, a game of Warhammer usually takes like 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours. Like it's an
Oh
all-day
my
thing.
God. Yeah, yeah, like you really have to like block out a good chunk of time. I feel like that with D&D too though.
Yeah.
Like if I know we're playing D&D, I don't plan anything else that day
What's the longest
cuz I'm like
D&D
we
session
could
you've had?
I think the longest we've played for is like 8 hours. Um
I
which is I feel like if we were all like younger and like some of our campaign like they have kids and stuff, so like
yeah.
we can't play any longer than that. And honestly, we usually only play for like 5 hours. Like 4 or 5 depending on when we start and what everybody has going on. Um other, if it wasn't for like real life responsibilities, I guarantee we'd go longer, you know?
So in college, one of my like really close friend groups that I had in college, um, it was finals week, but most of us were art majors or video game design majors, so most of our finals was our final project, and so we're already done with classes and everything.
Mhm.
We played for 9 days straight. With I was DMing and I had at least one person at the table interacting with the world at a time.
Oh my God, 9 days straight
I
is
I
crazy.
would stay at their dorm. I was sleeping. We would take like every once in a while like an hour or so break,
Mhm.
and I would sleep for maybe an hour or two. We'd get up, we'd go to the cafeteria, we'd be playing there at the cafeteria while we ate. And then we would go back to the dorm and we'd hang out. And we
Hilarious.
would send people like, oh, we need to go get food or something. Take everyone's order down, you're driving. Because this is before like DoorDash got super popular and stuff like
Right,
that.
yeah,
So
like,
like
you gotta go pick it up, yeah.
we'd call into a place, be like, hey, we need this, or we'd send one person with McDonald's with a list like this long,
Yeah.
and we'd send two people out. But I had at least one person playing at any given time during those 9 days. It,
That's so funny.
it was great. I did a lot of world building for my world that I've been building on for the last 13 to 14 years now. But I will never, ever do that again.
Yeah, no, it's, like, too long now. Like, when you're in college, you're like, "Hell yeah, that was, like, dope," you know?
But
When you
now,
get older, you're like, I don't even wanna spend 9 days straight with, like, anybody, you know? Like, any one person, like, spending 9 days straight with them, I'd be like, "Get out of here."
you get
I
tired of
don't
your
wanna.
husband probably every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, thank God he goes to work, you know? Like, I couldn't spend 24/7 even with him. Hell no. Maybe it's just the introvert in me. I need, like, my recharge time and, like, my quiet time and stuff.
Yeah, same. Like even like with me with my exes and stuff, I'm one of those people that can cohabitate really easily,
Mhm,
but I need that moment of I'm going to go over here and do my thing. I appreciate you
mhm.
being back here and doing your thing, but we need to be doing separate things.
Yes, like, I like knowing that you're there, but, like, be there quietly.
My heart has object permanence. My brain needs silence.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think that's, like, it that's why it's, like, nice that, like, I have my little, like, setup, my office right here. Like, this is, like, my home office, so I work from home too, so I work in here or whatever, but this is kinda like my little, like, girl cave.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like a little desk over here for him for when I like invite him in here to like hang out
Yeah.
with me. When I invite him.
when he comes in.
Oh, I have it there so that like he can come sit in there anytime, like even like at night if me and Gab are playing Marvel Rivals, I'm like you can come like sit in there and like hang out or whatever, so you don't have to like hang out by yourself completely or whatever. Because his PC's like downstairs, so
Yeah.
it's like not anywhere close to mine or whatever. But he has like a gaming laptop up here or whatever. So I just give him the option or whatever. But then there's sometimes where I'm like, no, you cannot come in. I'm
No,
gonna read a book, and I want to be alone.
trying to think. Oh yeah, no. So it's really weird. So my house, my bedroom, like my actual physical bedroom, the door does not have a lock
Mhm.
on it.
Oh,
My office,
weird.
my office has a lock on it, and I'm like, what? What?
Everything's backwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I'm just like, okay, yes. Like, and I could take the time to replace the doorknob. I did that enough with my ex, replacing door handles and knobs and other things around the house. I ain't going out buying a $30, $20 doorknob just because it has a lock.
Oh, yeah, no, no, me neither. Not in my own home.
Nah. I got roommates, cool. If you walk in and I did not say, hey, come on in yet, you see whatever, and that's on you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Have some common sense, knock first, right? That's like the nice thing about like being married. Like if you walk in, you walk in. I don't really give a shit.
It becomes like, yippee moment.
Yeah, my husband's best friend actually rents out our basement, but we don't like see him very often. So like
That's me with
I
my
don't really have to like
roommates.
worry about it. I mean, like if I'm going downstairs, like I should probably put pants on kind of thing,
Yeah.
just in case. Or like at least wear a shirt long enough that it like covers anything. But other than that, like I don't really have to worry. I can
So,
be cozy in my own space.
yeah. So I will segue us back around to video games.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and it's something I wanted to talk to you about because I know I found you through threads randomly,
Mhm.
like I have with a lot of people, like how I found the
Yes.
cabin and everything.
Uh-huh.
How long have you been streaming for?
So I've been streaming for just over a year. I started my first stream was like January 27th of 2024, I believe. And then I got affiliate like 3 weeks later.
Nice.
So yeah, and that's really, really all thanks to Threads, honestly. I don't think that I would have had that happen if it hadn't been for Threads and people from Threads intentionally coming to my streams to like help me get to affiliate and then sticking around after the fact, which is like even more incredible that I'm like, you guys didn't just like completely up and leave me. Like um there's like some people that still are regulars, from way back then that are still regulars in my stream, which is so amazing. So yeah, I haven't been streaming for that long. And in reality, I say like technically I've been streaming for over a year, but there was quite a few times where I had to take months off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't once it's kind of like the whole D&D thing. I've been playing for 2 years, but we don't play very often, so it doesn't feel like I have. Like I've been streaming for a year, but it doesn't feel like it because I had to take like 2.5 months off last summer, and then I had to take like another almost 3 months off, really,
Yeah.
in September because of like some health issues and stuff. Um, so have I really been streaming actively for a year? No, but timeline wise, yes.
I know I was there for your first affiliate stream
Oh, yes, I think you were. Yeah, I
because you
remember. I think
did,
you subbed to me.
yeah,
Yeah. I
because
think you were one of my first subs.
you did puppy playtime.
Yes, that's
And
right. I
I,
did.
I I pulled out what I do in people's streams. I go, hey, do you want some help with this puzzle? And if not,
And then
that's
I
fine.
figure it out as soon as I'm like, yes, I need help.
No, Poppy's it. I remember specifically it was one of the power generator puzzles, and you was on like a bunch of like catwalks.
Mhm. Yes,
I
yeah, that
I
I
felt
remember that
both of us
one.
having an aneurysm trying to figure that one
Oh
out.
my god. Poppy gets like really frustrating sometimes. I didn't even finish. Was it chapter 3? Is the last one or was it chapter 4? Chapter 3.
Chapter 4
Um
just came out.
okay, so it was chapter 3. I didn't even finish it on stream because like it was pissing me off because I'm sorry, I just feel like that chapter was too long.
Yeah,
I just think it was too long, and I think some of the puzzles were like unnecessarily difficult.
yeah.
Like
I
they didn't need to be.
I haven't touched Poppy yet, and I want to, but I also don't do
Mhm.
horror games unless it's October or, at this case, if someone would pay me. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not a horror
Yeah.
gamer. I'm a wimpy boy.
Yeah. I feel like Poppy isn't really that scary until you get to chapter 3. There is like one section that like actually gave me the heebie-jeebies, like for sure. I was like, okay, she freaks me out.
Yeah, and like I can watch horror games and I enjoy them. I can
Mhm.
watch more horror movies and I can enjoy them.
But like actually playing
Playing
them
it,
is a different thing. Yeah.
mm-mm. The thing that got me through Bendy and the Ink Machine was the fact I had an axe through most of the first one,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
the second one's not that hard.
I feel like there's definitely like a difference between watching it and doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Big
then
difference.
like I get jump scared in Skyrim and Fallout all the time, so it's like I don't need. I was telling someone the other day that I checked Lurk It, which is where I get a lot of my dev keys from and everything. It's one of those
Oh,
small
okay,
places
yeah.
I put myself out there. Um, I got 3 horror games for Stream Next Fests, and I was like, I don't know, not putting myself through that because all of these
You're
look
like, thank you.
terrifying. Sorry, I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to decline that, please.
Yeah, you're like, thank you for the offer, but no. I love horror games. I'm really big on horror games. There's I feel like they don't scare me too much. I mean, there is one, okay, Mortuary Assistant. I played that on stream. Um, I think probably around the time that I got affiliate. That that one actually freaked me the hell out. Like I had trouble sleeping that night.
No, see,
That a game hasn't done that to me in like a hot minute. I was like, well, damn. Like, okay.
I do a lot of like uh pagan research and witchcraft and all that jazz and everything like that. Mortuary
hmm
assistant, not touching it. Um,
Yeah, I know. I just feel like it was like so demonic. I was like, oh, I kind of feel like a lot of things, like weird things, were like said in the game too. That like sometimes when certain things are like said out loud, you're like,
well, and then there
you're
was
gonna try not to be like paranoid, but did you just summon something like by saying that in the game? Like, what the fuck?
and then Lost Records of Bloom and Rage. I just finished track 1.
hmm
Finished it in 2 streams.
Okay.
Honestly, really great. Had beautiful game. Not gonna give any spoilers to it, but there's a spot where you read a book in a very creepy
hmm
spot, and I started reading it out loud, and I stopped midway through because it's all Latin. It's a full like body text of Latin, and I stopped midway through, and I went, nope, that's how you
Like,
get shit in your house.
yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm not saying that out loud at all. Yeah.
and
No, thank you.
there was parts in Lost Records where I was like, I know how this goes. I know my movie
Yeah.
tropes. This ain't a good time.
Yes. Yeah. It's it's funny. Like I don't know. I just feel like horror games like have evolved so much, and then at the same time like have not at all.
Oh yeah.
you know? Do you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's so many like horror game demos out there that
Yep.
you like play them and you're like, this is all the same exact thing that it was like 15 years ago, you know?
Oh yeah. There.
And then there's some that are just like that honestly are just like above like anything you could have expected. Like I don't know. I mean, I guess technically it's horror. Until Dawn, I played that on
Yep.
stream. Um so I guess technically it would probably be classified as like horror, like a horror story driven game. That game blew my mind. I loved it. I loved it so much. I feel like that's one of the other games that like recently like had me in a chokehold like until I finished it. Like I just wanted to play it every single day. And I was sad that I couldn't because I was doing it on stream. And I couldn't play every day.
Have you played any of the Dark Pictures series?
I have not. I've heard really good things though.
They're made by some of the dev team from Until Dawn.
Mhm.
They after because Until Dawn's dev team went through some layoffs. They ended
Right.
up going to another studio and did the Dark Pictures anthology.
Mhm.
If you would love to collab with those, I will not promise that everyone gets through it, but I will promise I will do my best to get everyone through it. But
Yes, no, that would be so fun. I'd be super down for that. I decided on doing uh Detroit Become Human or
yep.
whatever afterwards because I was like, I need something to like cure the like game hangover that I have from Until Dawn. So I was like, let's play something like kind of like similar in style, the like choice driven sort of thing. And so that's what made me like be like, okay, let's play like Detroit Become Human next.
Have you finished that yet?
I haven't. No, I haven't been able to play it because a few weeks ago I did like cancel all my streams, which really sucked. And then like the week after that, I had a bunch of like game nights with friends planned
Yeah.
and then my affiliate stream and then I just streamed on Monday and it was a game night again too. So
Yeah.
um so I've been doing like a lot of like collab stuff. So hopefully when I'm back from my like Mexico vacation, I in like a week and a half, then I will be able to stream some more Detroit.
Because there's things I need to talk to you about
I
that
know
game.
Gab finished it, and
Gab
she's
finished
like,
it.
"You need to finish it so we can talk about it."
Gab finished it, and we talked about it. And I'm just like I'm physically over here vibrating at this point because I've done 6 playthroughs.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's a lot, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I almost platinumed it on PlayStation.
Okay.
Like I want to say I'm almost there on PlayStation if I've platinumed it
I
or
would
not.
hope so after 6 playthroughs.
Well, there's some choices where I just go, no, I can't make the opposite choice because I feel bad.
Oh my god, I'm the same way, and I feel like this is the only thing that, like, me and Gab are different on, is, like, she's will happily make the bad choice. She's like, "Yes, ruin that person's day."
Make their life a living hell. Let's
And I'm like, "No,
go.
I can't pick that, it's gonna hurt their feelings," you know? Like, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to, like, choose the bad option.
Trying to see here. Is it not gonna give me the trophy information on my PlayStation app? The PlayStation
Gab
app
is
does
a
some.
red flag queen.
Yes, you are. We also talked about your dating red flags on video games. It was a fun
Yeah,
conversation.
yes.
Um, so what got you into streaming? What made you start?
Um, it sounds so dumb, but, like, okay, so at the beginning of 2023, I switched jobs. I went from running retail stores to being an accountant that mostly works from home. Um, and then by the end of 2023, truthfully, I was just lonely. I was just lonely because, like, I don't get to like see my friends super often because they were all off like getting married and stuff. I'd already been married and then they like a lot of them moved away or like they got married so they're busy with like their newlywed life, which is totally like understandable. I was the same way when I got married, right? So I only get to see them like every once in a while and stuff and as you get older, you don't like talk to your friends every single day necessarily and that sort of thing. So I was just lonely and like I didn't get out of the house enough and that sort of thing and I would play a lot of games, but I was, like, mostly playing by myself or with randoms, which I hate doing. Um, and so I just thought, like, streaming might be, like, a good way for me to, like, actually start, like, using my voice and, like, speaking again. Because like, in reality is, like, I'm just silent all day long unless somebody from work calls me, like, I don't even talk to anybody except my husband, like, on a daily basis for the most part, unless somebody calls me on the phone. So, I was like, maybe like I can make some like new gamer friends by like streaming or whatever. And I also just like I'd always thought that it looked like so much fun, but I guess I didn't do it for so long, mostly because I think it's like a bias that I just have that like because I grew up in a small town where people get judgy about stuff. And so I just kind of like had it in my brain of like people are gonna think you're so dumb for doing that. And then it got to a point where I'm like, why the hell do I care what people will think? You know,
Yeah.
why do I care? It's something I've strayed away from as I've gotten older. And now I don't really care what people think as much, but I think that's what made me put it off for years and years because I'd always wanted to stream, but I was like, you don't like have the time, or you people, what are your people gonna say? Your friends are gonna think you're a weirdo, like whatever. Because like my IRL friends aren't gamers, not really, so they're just like not gonna understand it, kind of thing. But anyways, I decided to start streaming. I was like it'll be a good way to socialize, hopefully, if anybody even comes to my streams. And then turns out people did come to them, which was amazing. Um, and so yeah, it's like a good break in my week to like actually like socialize with people, even if they're not like they're just typing in chat, like
Yeah.
at least I'm using my voice and I'm talking to them and I'm um doing the same thing I'd be doing, after work, which is playing video games probably, right? But I'm at least doing it for like feels more purposeful. It doesn't feel like a wasted time. It feels like, oh, like this is a task that I'm doing rather than like I'm just killing time playing video games when I could be doing anything else. Also, my dog is like playing with a bunch of stuff right now on my floor, so I'm sorry if you can hear that.
Nope.
She's tearing apart blankets.
We are good. We don't hear a thing, and I like watching the dogs. Um, I find it really ironic for even though it's for like different reasons in retrospect, it's the same core principle because that's why I started streaming as well. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if we've had this conversation yet, or if you've listened to some of the other episodes of Joystick where I've talked about why I started streaming.
I don't think I've heard that story, no.
So I always in the back of my head I go, well, I can hear my fan base going, here goes Caleb again. but
You're like, "Not
uh,
again." Yeah.
um but I got out of a 5-year relationship. I was married for 3 months, and then shit hit the fan, and I lived on my brother's living room floor for about 3 months.
Mhm.
And then now I own a house. And when I bought that house and I got stuff moved in and situated, you don't realize how lonely you are after a relationship until you are in a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, full basement house.
Completely alone. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I would go out to the bar every once in a while, and that was a bit of socialization and stuff like that. But I would go to work, and I'd either go to work or go down to the bar, or I'd go to work and come back home.
Mhm.
And it got to the point where games, as we talked about earlier, games wasn't enjoyable, so why do it?
Mhm.
And I've always been that big nerd. I've always been that gamer. I've always been working on something D&D related for friends and stuff like that. And a large portion of my friend group left with the marriage. so
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one with breakups. I totally get that. Yeah.
I found myself just sitting in here, and I tried streaming a couple times over the years, and then I was a stepdad during that relationship as well. And my brain was the thing that put me off was, well, what if I have to get onto the kids or something, or what if I have to take care of something with the kids, or what if someone sees the kids and da 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 da, and just like all those possibilities of being a parent running through the back of your
Yeah.
head. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, so I pushed it off and pushed it off, and then there was one night I was just sitting here. I'm like, we're gonna re-download OBS. I was using Stream Elements at the time, um, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. I had Amazon Prime still. I got a camera, a mic right off the bat, and I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. And then I did all my overlays by hand on Photoshop, which I
Mhm.
still do all my own overlays. I swear to God, if any more bots come into my chat or message me on Twitter going, hey, do you need a graphic designer? It's like, hey, did you read my
Like,
profile at all?
no. Yeah, right.
A graphic designer by trade here,
Yes.
people. But
Yeah.
it was my way to go, even if no one's watching, I get to sit here and I get to talk and I get to share the games I enjoy to people.
Yeah, it's
And
like an outlet.
it
Yeah.
is. And it was therapeutic for me, especially when people started showing up. And then at a certain point I lost my job. Uh,
Oh.
I was I used to work for a nonprofit company here in town uh as their marketing assistant. And it was me and one other guy. He was my boss. He was the marketing lead. Uh, and even before he joined on, I was pretty much running the entire marketing department myself as an assistant.
Mhm.
And then they up and just fired us.
Mm.
And
That sucks.
so then there was nights like this is where I formed that I'm the hardcore variety streamer because I was streaming for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and
Right.
I'd go for 3, 4 hours. Hey, I'm gonna go use the bathroom, refill a drink. It's the reason I don't have a problem eating on stream because I would just be
Mhm.
going and I'd just chow down while playing a game, and
Yes.
I would switch from 3, 4, 5 games a stream.
Uh-huh.
And then it blew up in all this, and now I have the cabin, and I have you, and
Yes. Yeah, it's brought me, like, so many, like, awesome things that I never would have expected it to bring me. Like, I thought, like, okay, at least I can like socialize if people chat, you know? I didn't realize that I was going to end up with like so many new like people that I consider friends or even just like gamer friends, you know? Like I have so many people now that like I can get in a voice call with and play games with, or I can ask them like, "Hey, do you want to do this on stream next week?" You know, like it's actually amazing. Like I was lonely and I wanted to like socialize with somebody because I was at home alone all the time. And I didn't realize that I was gonna like actually just like make so many amazing friends. It's so exciting. Like I'm like, wow, goal
well,
completed.
well, and I know,
Even if nobody comes to my streams ever again, goal completed.
well, and I know I've mentioned it to Gab, and I've made Emmy cry because of it once before. Like
Hmm.
the cabin's family now, and
Hmm.
I mean that with the bottom of my heart and the deepest parts of my
Yeah.
soul. The cabin's family, and
Yeah.
I know if like anything were to happen to anyone, and they're like, "Hey, we need help," I would instantly drop whatever I could and take whatever money
Hmm.
I can, and I will be there. Plain and
Hmm.
simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I love the cabin. I know I've only been a part of the cabin for like not even a full 3 months yet, I don't think, but it just like it feels like I've been there the whole time. Like everybody's so welcoming and like it's amazing. I love being a part of it.
And we love having ya.
Thanks.
Like, what? Gab's the one who sent you the invite, right?
Yes. Mhm.
What was
Yeah.
that moment like for you?
Well, it's so funny. So, okay, before I started streaming, I was on Threads, right? And prior to me actually streaming, I never really chatted in anybody's stream ever because I was just always like a chronic lurker, you know? And I had been a lurker of Gabs for like a couple months before I even started actually streaming. Um, and like every once in a while, I'd like see her posts on Threads or like she'd be doing something like interesting on stream, like her Sims like murder gauntlets and stuff, you know. And so I'd watch those. So like I wasn't there like every time, but like I would go watch some of her streams and I would see her stuff on Threads. But we didn't really like interact too terribly much. Until really like I feel like in December we started like interacting with each other more like on threads and like stream and stuff. She started popping into my streams and chatting too. Um and and so it was like almost like a surprise when she had like sent it to me because I was like, "Oh my god, like you want me to join your stream team? Like this is crazy." And it's so funny and I love that she invited me. What did she just say? I was stalking Katya for a few months. I cannot lie. Good. I stalked you for a few months too, so it's fine. We're even. Um, I do love that, like, because I've been in Emmy's community and Emmy's been in mine for like quite a while. Um, but I was like not so, I'm not saying I'm not okay. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I'm
You're
not saying
fine.
that I'm not surprised that, like, Emmy didn't send me an invite. I'm not saying it like
Yeah.
that, you know? I'm saying, like, it was surprising to me that it came from Gab because, like, I knew Emmy more, you know? But, like, now it's so funny when I think about it because I'm like, it's good that it came from Gab because, like, now me and Gab are besties.
Yeah, you two are the same freaking person. It's kind
Yeah.
of scary
Oh my god.
sometimes.
We were playing a game the other night and we did character creation in the beginning. And then we realized after we'd both created our characters that we made them look exactly the same, clothes the same and everything. I was like, I hate it here.
Oh my
I was like,
god.
get away from me. But yeah, So I love Emmy and Gab, and it was kind of a shocker when Gab asked me to join, and it was so funny because my first reaction was because it's called the Little Cabin of Cozies, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not really a cozy streamer, and so I was like, do I have to be a cozy streamer? Because I was like, I wanted to like make sure. I was like, does she think I'm a cozy streamer? Like, I need to make sure. And she was like, no, I'm not cozy. And I was like, okay, then I'm in.
And then it's like, I
So,
feel like she goes, no, I'm not cozy either, and neither are these guys. It just
yeah,
points to me, Bird, and some of the
yeah.
others, just like, eh.
Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, so it was kind of a surreal moment that I was like, "Oh my god, somebody likes my content enough to like ask me to like join their stream team." Like it felt really good, especially with everything I'd been going through at that time. I was just recovering from like some life-threatening health issues. And I just recently come back to streaming after like a few months off when she had asked me. So I'd only been back for like 2 or 3 streams when she had asked me, to join, so it felt really good, and it was kind of like this huge, like, pick me up that I needed, um, to, like, be like, "Oh my god, like, making this content isn't a complete waste of time." Like, there are people that, like, enjoy it and, like, want to be a part of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to know from my side of it, because I'm pretty sure I was the captain, one of the captains at that point for the cabin.
Mhm.
Um, Gab will sometimes message us in our little section of the Discord and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this person?" And when
Mhm.
you popped up, I remember in all caps, I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yes." Just just
Yes.
big, bold, bright letters, "Yes."
Mhm. Yes.
Because I know I popped into your
'Cause
streams a
we've
couple times and everything, and I know you pop
Yeah,
into
we've
mine
been
every
in
once in a
each
while.
other's communities for like a while because you've been around since I got affiliate. You were one of my first subs. I
Yep.
think you subbed to me like the first month I was affiliate. Um, I, and then yeah, we've like been around each other for a while. So
And then Threads again, like that.
yeah,
Threads has probably been the best thing to happen to social media in a long time, in my opinion, and especially
yeah,
for like the Twitch community and the content creators that you can find on there. We're all
yeah,
just a bunch of wholesome people that understand what how shitty
we're
life
just
is and just
vibing.
goes, "Hey, we're gonna hang out here for a moment."
Yeah, we're just vibing. I think like the biggest thing that I like did in order to get affiliate so quickly and like actually have people come to my streams was that I was posting on threads before I ever actually went live, and I was like befriending like other small streamers and that sort of thing before I ever, you know, click start streaming in OBS kind of thing. And I was like so shocked my first stream how many people like came through. Even if they didn't stay, they just like came like I am going like to somebody's house or something, but I wanted to say hi and happy first stream, because they all knew that it was my first stream. Because I'd posted about it on threads and stuff. So I was like blown away by that. I was like, wow, this stupid app is like the best thing ever.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
And I think, and I know I've said it on here before multiple times, I think that's the beauty of gaming.
Hmm.
And like I never really understood it because I used to watch a bunch of YouTubers and stuff like that, but that's not like really like they're communities, but they're not communities.
Yeah.
But it's like I never understood watching a YouTuber or even some streamers and being like, yeah, I'm thankful for all the people I found and stuff like that until I became a streamer. And like I've got
Hmm.
members of my community that like they pop in and I remember them from like the first because they're still some of the first people that showed up and stream. And I'm like
Yeah,
and
I
I'm like
remember their names.
and it's like it's good to see you. Glad you popped back around. And it's
Yeah.
also like the way it's brought us all together and the way we hang out and we interact with each other and stuff like that. And it's beautiful, especially with everything else going on in the world right now.
Yeah. It's definitely like a good like escape, I think gaming is like despite toxicity in some aspects of it, like it really can be like so wholesome in so many different ways when it comes to like the gaming community and the streaming community.
Love that. Mm.
Yes.
Makes me all warm. Makes me all warm and fuzzy.
I know, all warm and fuzzy.
Well, I think that is a perfect note to leave it there. This is the moment where I give it to you. You've got anything coming up that you want to promote, anything you want to say specifically, this is your time to do that.
Well, I don't really have anything to promote right now because I am actually going to not be back streaming until like the second week of March because I will be on vacation. But you can follow me everywhere. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, uh Blue Sky, and Threads as Katjasaurus, same as my Twitch name. Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, everybody, it has been a joy having you all here. Katya, it has been wonderful having you here in the arcade.
Yay, thanks for having me.
Course, of course. Just let everyone know, I'm getting people already planned up for this coming month. As well as normal, you can find me everywhere on Apple Podcast, YouTube. We put the VODs on from the live show. Um, we also do Spotify, Samsung Podcast, literally anywhere you can probably find a podcast. I'm pretty sure I'm on there. Um, and as always, everybody, thank you, goodbye, and good night.